From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. Let everybody know that we are here live, and for that, we say thank you so much. Family, let's get right to where we're going today. Talk Black to me, somebody. Family, how many of you all know that in the United States, we have certainly been dealing with a lot of injustices as it relates to foundational Black Americans, those of us that are responsible for the actual building and creation of the United States of America. I don't care where you're watching us, anywhere around the world, inside of America or outside, baby. The people that they call the founding fathers and mothers of this country, that's a big fat lie. They could not do what we end up doing. That's why they misuse us, our land, and our labor to bring into existence that which they could not do on their own. Let me hit my gavel on that. For those of you that don't know, that the Vicky Show is the home of the hand claps and the gavel raps, baby. We hold court here. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up, beloved, because this immigration issue has taken on greater intensity now. Many of you have heard about it, certainly, and even in some of your own nations and countries, you have certainly been hearing about a lot of immigration issues domestically and internationally. Yes, well, family, ICE, which is the immigration enforcement arm in the United States here, they have been really cracking down more and more and more on unlawful and illegal migrants. And I would hope that if you're watching us from anywhere in the diaspora, that you would have an issue with that too. Anytime you are welcome, and I want some of my brothers and sisters around the world to think about this. Anytime people are willing to open up their hands to you who are a stranger to this country, and they're willing to give you money, housing, jobs, and cars, and a thing that they're unwilling to give us, and they make laws, rules, regulations, and policies to legally discriminate against Black Americans, something in your mind ought to say something not right if they're willing to accept me and give me substance and resources, but yet they will reject the people that are responsible for creating the United States of America and absolutely refuse to give them 1 cent in reparations or any substance. Talk Black to me. Something in your mind ought to say, what are they using me for? And that's what I want you to always keep in mind. Yes? Now, with that being said, beloved, I want to remind you a little bit about what's going on. We're going to play a clip here in just a minute. But before we play the clip, I want to know if we can pull up this article really quick. This is an article from the Tallahassee Democrat. Now, this is reflective, this article, of, to be honest with you, a lot of different things that are happening right now in this country. Yes. Now, this piece is talking about some of the latest things that have gone on with the latest crackdown with immigration. Yes. And this says here, ICE in Tallahassee, over 100 detained in one of Florida's largest raids. What we know. Of course, I'm just going to get to the key points. What are the key points? ICE and Florida Highway Patrol detained over 100 people in Tallahassee, Florida on May 29th. An ICE raid occurred at a construction site. Y'all hear that word? Construction site. I'm going to say it again. Construction site. Are there any construction emojis? And can somebody put me some construction emojis in the chat? There's a reason I'm saying that. Construction site near Florida State University's, Doak Campbell Stadium. It says ICE stated the raid was targeted enforcement operation, part of an ongoing investigation in the Tallahassee region. A little bit more about it here just says that Homeland Security investigations, which is under ICE, along with the Florida Highway Patrol and other Florida and federal law enforcement agencies, conducted immigration raids on Thursday, May 29th in Tallahassee. Officers reportedly checked every individual's identification and permits before releasing or arresting them, it says. A worker from a nearby building site said his construction site had been raided an hour early, with people fleeing and some caught. Homeland Security investigations Tampa lead teams from various agencies during the arrest of more than 100 illegal aliens, some of which were previously deported and others with criminal backgrounds, at a major construction site in Tallahassee, Florida during a targeted enforcement operation today, the agency said in a post on X. It says, quote, the illegal aliens from Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Colombia, and Honduras, to name a few, the post continued. Now, let me say this really quick before we play this clip. Now, I'm just bringing this one up because this is one of many articles. How many of you all know that ICE has been making it even more, they've been doing even more raids over the past few days? Yes, even, of course, as you can see, based on that date, that was very recent. Yes? Now, I'm bringing this up, dear family, for a couple of different reasons. Now, number one, do you all remember, and I have another broadcast that's going to be coming up talking about this too soon, so stay tuned for that. How many of y'all remember when the likes of Representative Jasmine Crockett twitched her hips around the country, saying that she needed to educate us about what migrants do for this country? How many of y'all remember that? Now, I believe in the feminine being spicy, and you can twitch your hips as long as you pushing substance for us. But when you about that agenda for somebody else, no, you finna get this word. Well, how many of y'all remember when Miss Crockett told us that the reason why it's important that we allow these illegals in our country? She said, because we're not picking cotton no more. How many of y'all remember her saying that? How many of y'all remember her saying that Black folks are not looking to farm the land? How many of y'all remember she said that they are taking over jobs, or she said similar things, similar to that, as well as many other Democrats, but she specifically said some of the other things I just mentioned, but she certainly hinted at the fact that they're doing jobs, and I'm paraphrasing, that we don't want to do. Now, I'm emphasizing the construction site because how many of you all been keeping up with what's been going on, particularly with Black men that have been saying they've been going on these construction sites to get jobs for years, and those jobs have been given to illegals, a lot of illegals or other migrants. Now, let me tell y'all something real quick. I keep saying I've been saying in the past, and I'm going to say it again. They're not giving you these jobs, family, because you're smarter than us. You're not getting construction jobs because we don't want those jobs. You are a tool for corporations and companies and other individuals and entities that have different kinds of agendas. Now, I've advocated this for years. Have you all noticed that when Trump and everybody else before him, whenever they talk about immigration and when they talking about cracking down and sending illegals back and unlawful folks back, they never get on the companies that's hiring them? Do you know that if they targeted the companies and corporations that's hiring them, a lot of that stuff would stop? Why am I bringing up companies and corporations in this context right now? I'm trying to let you all know you're not doing jobs we don't want to do. No, Black folks wanted, longed for, and were excellent and some of the most highly skilled builders. Now, let me go down south with my speech so you can understand me a little better. And if you're from somewhere around the world and you only believe in the Queen's speech, the King's speech, or whatever, you don't want me to mess up, you get over yourself. What had happened was you decided to be a cheap employee. Corporations save a lot of money paying your cheap self. And because they had to pay you lower wages than they would have to pay foundational Black Americans who are equally skilled, in some cases more skilled, you were willing to participate in a system that further discriminated against us because that caused wages overall to be lower. I just said something right there. On top of that, you got the nerve to come over here with an attitude to tell Black folks to just be grateful. And so because you had that attitude, you supported corporations and companies that further exploited us, which means that they not only lowered pay, they lowered the insurance and other benefits that would typically come with those good paying construction jobs. Did y'all hear what I said right there? You were not more skilled. You're not better at it than us. You're not willing to do something that Black folks weren't willing to do. No, baby. Because we were enslaved and built the country, we know at the very least, you got to pay us a halfway decent wage to do such wonderful work for you. And y'all came over here and said, I'll take a fraction of what you were paying them. You don't have to cover all my insurance, just some of it. That's the reason why these companies and corporations need to be looked at, in my opinion. And I'm trying to show some of you all how you are participating in not only lowering standards, but lowering pay. And what else is in the mix of that too? Because a lot of you all are illegal. Most of you all, when you're mistreated, and when a company or corporation or an executive is doing something illegal, they can literally be putting your life on the line. They can literally make sure that you don't even have all the hazardous protections that you need, the PPE. They don't make sure that they follow the rules and regulations. They don't cross their T's or dot our I's. They be violating all kinds of laws and rules. They don't care nothing about you or your health, and you don't either. What does that mean? And because they know you're illegal, they know that you're less likely to go to agencies and law enforcement. Do you see how you being played? So you shouldn't be acting like the victim. You should see yourself as a collaborator in the undoing of justice. I said something right there, didn't I? So you're not only you're causing, there was a time where families were able to pay the mortgage, pay for their homes and cars, and even put their babies through colleges and put their families, their children through school with just one or two incomes. Your participation in a corrupt and unlawful system lowers pay, wages, benefits, health, and standards across the board. Calm down, Vicky. I got my hair flicking and stop. Now, this is the reason why we have a problem with what you're doing on a larger scale. There's a number of different reasons. And of course, the fact that you're getting benefits that we don't. Now, another point I want to make is that the notion, the idea that Black looking people, yes, Black looking people, because everybody that's highly melanin doesn't mean that they really us. How many of you all know that the Democrat Party, as well as the Republicans and everybody else, but in this particular instance, because we're getting ready to show you a clip here in a minute, they will hire, they will pay for folks among us that look like us to infiltrate our spaces so that they're not held accountable. Are you listening? And so that we don't actually make progress. But the good thing is, because of networks and voices like ours, a lot of our people are not going for the okie doke anymore. We know what time it is. Now, the Democrats have been paying infiltrators in the Black grassroots to disrupt their very effective political engagement. Nobody can check us about not being politically engaged. We're the ones that have been flooding all the meetings. We're the ones that have been voting for all these years, and we're the ones that have been telling the Democrats we're going to change up our voting strategy and our voting tactics if you don't do right by us. So don't ever tell us we're not politically engaged. It's just that you don't like how we're politically engaged. See, because we're holding Democrats accountable, you mad. If we were spending all this energy just directing all of our energy like we're used to doing for so many years to just the Republicans and how racist they are, y'all would be okay. But we looked up one day and we started looking at the bottom line and we said to ourselves, wait a minute, the Democrats come to our churches and just eat chicken and fish. They put on choir robes and sing Amazing Grace. But we've noticed they still don't believe in reparations either. We noticed they believe in doing immigration reform before they do anything as it relates to substantive economic policy for us. We said, what we look like being excited about a friendly enemy when the bottom line is still the same after we're done fooling with them. Now, black-looking folks have been hired by the Democrat Party to criticize us and to try to persuade us to join in the fight with unlawful migrants to push back against ICE enforcement. Now, I want to remind you of something. In the wake of the recent ICE crackdowns, do you all remember not too long ago during one of the Chicago City Town Hall meetings, a black op, how many of y'all remember Vicky doing broadcasts on that? A black op took the mic and start going crazy on foundational Black Americans and telling us that we better stand against ICE and all this. I want you to listen real close. If the team can get the clip ready, I want you to listen real close to this clip and what foundational Black Americans said to this op about ICE and enforcement and telling us that we're illegals. Y'all remember that? Watch this clip.
My name is Leo Cargo. I'm the leader of the RevCom Corps for the Emancipation
That's them up
of
on
Humanity here in
71st
Chicago.
Street. That's them
We're
up on
calling on
71st
all
Street.
of the decent people to say no. In the name of
Look at
humanity,
this.
and
Look at
refuse
this.
to accept a fascist America.
Look at
To
this.
Stop Trump MAGA fascist program.
See, look at this.
Saying no to mass deportation.
Look at this, y'all.
Total somos ilegales. We are all illegals.
We ain't no illegal.
Proposal is not city politics.
We not illegal.
Fascism, yes. Fascism is being inaugurated next week. Trump,
Look at
Homan,
this.
and their local lackeys like Raymond Lopez and Tavares are collaborators with this fascism. I want to make an example out of this sanctuary.
We're not
city
illegal,
as
homie,
a
right?
battering ram for massive roundups and deportations.
I'm gonna help them too.
They stopped his time.
All of the decent people who want to see an end to this oppression, to this madness, who don't want to see our immigrant brothers and sisters who have been forced to come here from all over the world,
What?
be rounded up and hauled off, and families destroyed because of that, need to stand up and flood the streets January 20th and 21st, saying no, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. They want to make an example out of Chicago.
They going to. They going to, and we're going to help.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We're gonna
we
help.
need to make Chicago an example.
We will.
Of people finding their courage and their backbone.
It's going
Standing up
to
with collective action and
Yes,
self-sacrifice.
but you gotta look at it, y'all.
With the goal and aim of defeating this fascism.
You got to look at it, you all. This is the Black
And
Democrat
this
Party.
is for everybody in the room today. Particularly all of the bootlickers and MAGA Trump supporters here.
Trump,
All the black people and Latinos in Chicago who are caught up foolishly.
insult from 2024.
I'm gonna help them get you out of here.
Rabid white racists.
We're gonna help them get you out.
And wake up and get off of that garbage.
We're gonna help them.
Tom Holman. Tom Holman.
That garbage.
Woo, family. Talk black to me, somebody. Did you hear what the family said? Did you hear him, this black op, get his funny looking self up there, started talking about fascism and all that? You know he plotted all this with the Democrats. I'm finna tell you something in a minute. Because he's sitting there, he couldn't even look away from his phone to say 2 or 3 words in a row on his own. He didn't say nothing from the heart. Now, I understand having some notes. I have to review the notes just to remember some of the topics and some of the main points that you want to make. But you know he was controlled. Talk black to me, somebody. He's sitting up there telling us, baby, about us not helping ICE. When did Foundation of Black Americans start yelling out? Y'all sing it with me. Where my altos at? Where my sopranos? Where my tenors? Let's go to church. Since the Democrats believe in going to our churches, let's take them to church. But we're going to sing a different hymn. Ice, ice, baby. The gospel song of the hour is Ice, Ice, baby. Did you hear Foundation of Black Americans say, no, baby? Ice, ice, baby. For those of y'all don't know, that's a old hip hop song. So you can look that up if you don't know where we're going from. That's a song. Ice, ice, baby. They talking about ice, and we sit up there talking about, baby, we you know how we do with Foundation of Black Americans. We're gonna make it work, baby. Watch this. What did one of the brothers there say when the man gonna try to tell us not to cooperate with ICE? He said, no, we gonna help them. He said, we finna help. If you say it's cruel, then I'm looking at you as an enemy. Why, Vicky? Too many of us know the families that were separated right here in the United States of America. How many of you all know that the United States imprisons more of its citizens than any of the most developing, top developing countries combined? So-called developed countries. Y'all know those terms are suspect. Whenever they use first world, second world, third world, when they start talking about who's developed, underdeveloped, and all that stuff. But the typical term that they tend to use, the top developing countries in the world, the United States, we beat all of them out combined with the number of people that we imprison here in the United States. And a large and disproportionate number of those individuals that are detained and arrested are Black families. But we sit up here hearing Democrats and the rest of you funny looking ninjas out here talking about, well, it's separating families. You didn't say all that when the court separates Black families. Homes are destroyed, homes are lost, houses are lost, families destroyed. Mental illnesses, physical ailments, economic ailments, familial ailments. What the Democrats didn't do all of those press conferences. They didn't do none of that stuff talking about the devastation that this had on the impact of Black families. For citizens. So we don't really want to hear that. We don't know where y'all were when we were going through that. You see how that's crazy? To sit up here and get in the way of somebody removing actual illegal folks. Now, we know there's been a couple of situations where I feel that Trump needs to pull back on as relates to actual people that have legal status in this country or are citizens. We can't play with that concept. And he was playing with it not too long ago through a speculative press conference. I'm not with that. I'm talking about illegal immigration. But how dare you all expect us to cry a river when ain't nobody crying rivers for us? When they say, let's give you legal status, do you know that they're saying, let's clear your records so that you're able to get government assistance, good jobs, and housing? Do you know they don't clear our records? So what we look like worried about them clearing your records for? The brother said, no, we finna help them. FBAs start yelling and singing out, no, baby, ice, ice, baby. That's a song. We about to start singing that. Now, how many of y'all know one of the Foundation of Black Americans during one of them other meetings after this illegal disrespected her, started saying, we ain't getting no more money. She started letting him know, go home. She lifted her voice and started singing, go home. He didn't like that. I agree with her. We need to start just singing, doing marching bands all over again for political purposes. Since you want to come here and disrespect us, an illegal showing up to a political meeting with government leaders and police, and they have no fear of being detained, while you turn around and disrespect us at the meeting, talking about no more money for us. No, go home. Or ice, baby. We finna start having church in these meetings. Now watch this. Jasmine Crockett lied to us when she told us that these are jobs that we don't want. Those are just covers that Democrats and others use so that we don't hold them accountable for that little slick agenda that they have for these illegals in the country. We need to be asking Miss Crockett and others like her, because it's not just her, but they like to use our own to try to persuade us to do something that we shouldn't. They know they losing trying to persuade us, so they think that they're gonna buy off somebody like her and put a lot of money in her campaign. Look at who supported her campaign when she became a representative. She was already doing local politics. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. I'm gonna have to say that for another day to expose the individual that gave disproportionate amount of money to push her up to run and to win in Texas. Talk black to me, somebody. We have to keep those things in mind. One real quick thing that I want to say here. At no time are we going to stop doing what we do. That guy that you saw there, and why did I call him a Democrat? Because I'm afraid some of y'all may have forgotten. I showed a clip like that before because I brought it up again because it was specifically talking about ICE. This is a part of the agenda that they wanted us to work against before. I was trying to show you that progression. And now that ICE continues to crack down, I was reminding you the Foundation of Black Americans have already been persuaded long ago. Y'all don't cooperate with them. No, you don't cooperate with the white supremacist police that detains us. We'll get to you in a minute. The moment we see you out there screaming and hollering and saying that you're willing to go to prison and jail to save our lives, to save our families, then we can talk about ICE. Until then, you got to sit in the back of the bus. That guy that you just saw there, that black op, are y'all listening? He is with an organization that's known as REVCO, REVCO. Are you listening? Guess what else? The clip that the team just played, did you all see that right before when he took to the mic? Did y'all see who was at the front of the podium? Mayor Brandon Johnson. Did you all know that? Remember, I told you all during one of my previous broadcasts on this that I was going to do a follow-up, right? And I told you that I was going to further expose that op. Well, my folks are still working on that information because after that individual, after they were told about Vicky Diller wanting to use it to expose that Democrat op, looked like it was a little bit of slow walking, but we didn't come to the conclusion of something else that's going on. So y'all keep standing by on that. When my team went to look for the footage in other places of other individuals that were there, guess what? They found that a lot of it had been scrubbed. That guy that you saw there, we've proven and shown through direct sources in Chicago that he is connected to Alderman Lopez in Chicago. Did y'all hear what I just said? And that he is with the organization known as REVCO. Now, if you listen real closely, when the team played the video, did you notice how the Foundation of Black Americans that was attending it said, that's that dude from so-and-so street? They recognized that he was an op for another thing. Every time they push back, he pop up. So they hinted at that anyway, that he was putting out signs. Now we realize who he's connected to specifically. Alderman Lopez and that organization that's known as REVCO. And we got footage in other places where he was doing their bidding. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I want you all to dig further into that. I'm bringing that up because I'm trying to tell you when they want us to resist this ICE stuff because there's another agenda that they have for allowing these illegal immigrants here. How many of y'all remember me showing you the clip of Illinois Senator Dick Durbin on the floor in Congress talking about he want to use the illegals as soldiers? He want us to give them some goodies like citizenship and some other stuff, very likely, by allowing the illegals to come to the country and to be soldiers. America, we have a quota, a certain number of individuals that we should be having registered for the military. Guess what? The numbers, the quotas aren't hidden. In addition, I showed you previous clips of now that was Dick Durbin of Chicago who said that, of Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer of New York, long-term senator out of New York. What did he do? Remember, I showed you the clip of him on the press conference. He slipped up and said, however many illegals. He said 11 million or however many here, he said. He said, we need to let them be here and give them legal status. Why? He said, because there's a certain population, meaning his people, white folks, that's not producing children like they used to. They are looking for collaborators for a number of different reasons. And those are just two reasons that some of your Congress folks slipped up and admitted publicly. And so when Foundation of Black Americans pushed back, whether some of us knew it or not, many of us didn't know that they were actually pushing back against a geopolitical agenda. That's the reason why they're upset with us. That's the reason why they're paying these ops. And that's the reason why they're refusing to give us what's due for us, because they want to use all these extra bodies over here for a multitude of different reasons. And we ain't having it. I could say a lot more, family, but I'm getting ready to go right now. Thank you so much for tuning into the Vicky Show right here on African Diaspora News Channel. Family, we know it's summertime, so we want to make sure that you set your own alarm, check for us on a regular basis. Remember, I'm typically here live Tuesday through Thursdays. Every now and then there's a change because of some editing stuff that's going on, some tech stuff behind the scenes rather. So, but typically speaking, I'm normally live here Tuesday through Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, check out my international commentary that I do in addition to my lives, and support my colleagues. Of course, Brother Phil should be live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. Thank you so much for tuning in.